Hey there, Chris coming to you with another video trail exploration. I'm at campsite 127 on Big Run Road, so part of Savage River State Forest. Big Run State Park is right down there. And I'm gonna do a bit of an exploration trail tour or exploration of a potential trail today. So it starts here at this campsite and it's gonna go. You can kind of see that gate that's down. And what I'm going to be trying to do is find a passable way to connect the end of the Monroe Run trail. So that comes along here. What I'd like to try and do is connect that to the end of the Poplar Lick Run trail. And you can see this is all DNR property that you could make a connection here, and my goal is to create a backpackable loop. So if you were to start here at Monroe Run Trail, go down, do this new path that I'm hopefully going to find, come up Poplar Lick Run, then you can get up to here to the Meadow Mountain Trail and come back down. So there's some road crossings and that kind of stuff that, you know, takes a little bit away from the experience. But otherwise, you'd have to just walk along Savage River Road to get this connection. What I'm hoping is to keep a natural experience and go there. But it's fairly rugged in through here. There's going to be kind of some up and downs through little stream valleys. But it looks like it should be an interesting exploration. So it starts here. Looks like an old logging road up there, and we'll follow that as long as we can, and then kind of may have to do some bushwhacking past that. Stay tuned. About a half a mile up on this trail, it's starting to narrow into more of a trail. It was kind of a standard logging road that's grown up over, gotten overgrown, fallen trees, that kind of stuff over time. But yeah, I guess as we're getting higher here, it's petering out into more of a little trail that probably deer mainly use at this point. But upward and onward. Just about a mile in, and looks like we'll probably start to lose this logging trail. It's very well defined kind of when you're on the side of the hill, but it doesn't take much to lose something like this when you're in the more open area. But I'll keep following it as long as I can, and then probably on to bushwhacking at that point. After bushwhacking for a bit, kind of back on a fairly well-established logging road. I think I essentially was down there when I lost the road, so it probably was just a switchback that's come back up this way. And this is generally the way I want to go. Pretty sure I want to get up to here. So for the sake of following a little easier trail, if you've got a backpack on, I'm going to stick with this instead of just shortcutting it right up the hill. And it looks like this baby turning to the right, which is what I want. Okay, it's about 1 2/3 miles, 1.67 miles. Been following that road, the logging road behind me, and we've come up to kind of what I was expecting is some private property, and we've got the forest gate here, which is a nice validation of that. And we have come up we come up here, and we're right about here right now. There's a little peak, so we're right at this corner right now. Unfortunately, it looks like the logging road would have gone that way and avoid going on private property. So I'm just going to kind of skirt that and my goal is to kind of cut this gap and get through there. So it looks like we, if we're lucky, we'll pick up some logging roads over there, but we got to go down, cross Bear Pen Run, and then come back up and get to this side to the trail. So it's going to be some bushwhacking and some up and down through these little river valleys, stream valleys, but we'll make it. Okay, about 2 miles in, might be back on a road. Yeah, it looks like there's a gate up there. And yeah, did a little bushwhacking back that way. There were some cabins and some people out turkey hunting. I forgot it was turkey hunting season right now. And they were super friendly and, directed me down to here. So hopefully this will turn out to be the way I want to go. And yeah, I did think I successfully avoided going on their property. And they did say that the road it's on is public, but I didn't want to take any chances. So did a little bushwhacking, probably maybe a quarter mile at the most. And it's pretty easy. You just stay on the ridge line, like kind of this ridge. And once you pass those cabins and go a little further, you'll get to this road, and we'll see. This is generally the direction I want to go. And hopefully when I do this, take this home and do the processing on this video, I'll overlay probably like a topo map as to where I am, exactly where I'm doing each of these shots, so you get an idea. But I'm gonna follow this road and see where we go. Oh, looks like someone was saving a drink for later up here. And it's just one of those reminders of you feel really remote, and the logging road has pretty much been fully obscured, if it was ever even here at this point. But there's still signs of people coming through here. That all did look pretty old. But this is, I want to follow this ridge. So we've got kind of it slopes off on either side. What I'm going to end up doing is going down to the right into I've got to cross a stream valley. So I was anticipating losing a trail anyway, having to make that crossing. I don't think any logging roads were going to go down, cross a stream like that. So I'll keep wending my way through here until it's time to make that turn down to the right. Still bushwhacking, about 2.5 miles in, and so that'd be a good time to share a couple of my rules of thumb on bushwhacking. That's when you're off the trail, and I guess there's lost bushwhacking and not so lost. But generally what I try and do is, if I have an idea of where I'm going, is always go at least a little bit uphill, unless you're certain that your direction you want to go is down. But there's nothing more demoralizing than, kind of having taken downhill and then realizing, oh yeah, I need to go back uphill and then maybe back downhill. So if you're always just kind of generally heading uphill, I think that, I feel it's more of a moral uplift if you don't have to do it kind of down and up. And somewhat related to that is always going to be longer than you think to get to a certain waypoint or feature or something you're looking for. And almost always when I have been hiking or bushwhacking off trail and I've thought, oh, I missed what I'm looking for, let me just turn off now and try and catch what I was trying to hit. Almost always if I had just kept going in the direction, I would have been better off. So be totally sure, as much as you can, that you're ready to turn off and kind of head in a different direction. So those are two fairly vague but I think useful tips when you're off trail. But what I am looking for is kind of a point almost. Like I said before, this little ridge slopes off on either side, and the part that I'm looking for, if I keep going straight, it should just slope down in front of me too, and that'll take me to this stream crossing I'm looking for, Bear Pen Run. And it looks like that is likely the situation that's developing right here. So I'm gonna get a little rougher, so I'm gonna sign off until the next spot. Well, this is that moment of truth I was talking about. Like, I am holding the camera, you know, level, and then there's the downhill. So I would be very sad if I went down this and then had to unnecessarily come back up and then do the same thing because I missed a landmark. So I am about as sure as I get coming down here, but it's going to be a hell of a descent and then a hell of a ascent coming back up the other side. So I will sign off for now. It's getting steeper by the second. Well, often on these trips, I get to a point of, why did I want to do this again? And I'm about, I don't even know, maybe 2/3 of the way down. And it is, you know, it's tough to capture steepness on a video, but I think this does a pretty good job. And it's just very rocky, loose rocks, starting to get thicker as we get down more to the bottom. But yeah, this would be very tough backpacking. So I may need to get back to this drawing board on the map and see if there's a little better way to avoid this. But there were no logging roads that I saw that would kind of do switchbacks. So it was down and up. And yeah, I'm looking forward to going back up. That is going to be my reward at the bottom. But I'll keep picking my way down here. Okay, that was a hell of a descent. Something, be very tough on it with a backpack on. And I'll have to kind of get back to the drawing board, look at some maps, see if there's anything we can do a little better on that. But this is the reward. Very pleasant, nice spot along Bear Pen Run. And one of those things where you're thinking you're probably one of the few, if only, people to be back here in a very long time. So it is a nice spot to get a little lunch, let Spencer get his drink. He's been pretty thirsty, and I knew we were going to get to a stream soon, so he's having a good time. A little recap on where we have come, where we are is right there at that intersection of Bear Pen Run and Silver Bell Run, and we came down off of that ridge. That's where we were, near those little cabins. Kind of came down here, came down, and that's where that real steep descent was. There's some other more detailed maps that show like a little stream bed here, so that might be a better way to come down, follow that stream bed instead of just going straight down the hill. You know, we came here off of Big Run Road, came up the hill, and then came down to here. And really what we're going to cross this little point here, this little neck of state land, and get over to the Poplar Lick Run trail. So not too much further to go, but you know, I eventually got to get up there somewhat. But I might, this is Silver Bell Run right beyond. So we've got Bear Pen Run, and then Silver Bell Run is coming in on the right on the other side of that. I may be able to follow that up depending on how cut in that is to the hillside, and that might make it a little easier to get up the upslope. And supposedly there was a silver deposit found around here. There was actually a I don't know, operating might be a strong word, but there was a silver mine that sold stock based around in here in the New Germany area. And there's one of those old wives' tales of a guy who was out hunting, this like late 1800s probably. Saw an unusual rock formation, broke off a piece, took it home, put it on his mantle, and then a few years later somebody said, well, that looks like silver, and found that it was a pure chunk of silver that, you know, was pretty valuable. But the guy was never able to find that outcropping again, so I'm keeping my eyes open. I did actually look up what silver looks like when it's in its natural state. I don't know if I'd recognize it. I'm not that much of a geologist expert, but I'll be looking. So we're gonna take a little break here and get back on the trail, hopefully head up Silver Bell Run. Okay, I'm about 2/10 of a mile up Silver Bell Run here, and going pretty well. Sometimes hiking up a stream can get kind of hairy. You know, may neck down real tight. You gotta walk in the stream to keep going. But for right now, even though we've had a decent amount of rain recently, the water isn't up very high, so I can stay on the shores, so to speak, and it's relatively easy. There's some down trees, but the good thing is Spencer gets to drink all he wants, which is good, because when you're hiking you can't really tell a dog to fill up on water before you hit a spell where there's no water. So I do have a bowl and my water bladder for him if he needs it, but it's better when he can just drink on his own. But I got a little tricky down tree to cross here, so I'm going to sign off. There have been tons of little waterfalls, but this one's pretty neat. Looking back there, it looks like it's almost square blocks that have been laid there. So it's just kind of how the rock has fractured over time. So this is, yeah, rigorous hiking along the stream bed. And the other downer of doing this is bugs. So luckily I haven't noticed mosquitoes, but there are tons of little bugs kind of get in your eyes, breathe them in. That's a hassle, but I don't think I have too much more on this, but I do have to start heading up that hill pretty much straight up at some point. But doing this has been better than going straight up a hill like that. But a little complicated deadfall here. I'm going to navigate through. Okay, Silver Bell Run is down there. I did a little bushwhack, not much, and appears that I am on another logging path. I mean, it's clearly been cut out. It doesn't look quite wide enough, but some form of established trail. So this is generally the direction I want to go. Be worth it. See how far that goes and see how much of the stream side, you know, going directly up the stream you could avoid going that way. But time for exploration for another time. We're off this way. Okay, after a fairly long and tough bushwhack up the mountain, we hit this power line right away, which is marked on the map more as a road and is not quite where it should be. So if I'd been able to hit that, that would have been a heck of a lot easier. So now that I'm on this is the direction I want to go, over this way. And that should get us to the next ridge, and then downhill to Poplar Lick Run. So getting close, but that was tough. That was uphill through some laurel thickets, brambles, you know, all that great ridgetop stuff that we have here. But this looks hopefully a little more easygoing now. Okay, so that smaller power line right away intersects with this one, and I'm going to follow this, and should lead to another logging road. Although, you know, never trust the maps. That should be getting us pretty close to the think it's Point Ridge, which is right above Poplar Lick Run, and kind of take us down the hill and intersect with the trail. So we should be getting a little close. I was coming down pretty well defined, looked like a logging road, but definitely appears just to end right here. But what I want is right around this bend here. I should be able to just follow this ridge line down to where Poplar Lick Run hits the Savage River. But back to scaling the hillside here, and hopefully I should just be able to kick around here to follow this ridge line. Okay, this was the logging road I was looking for. This should take me down out to this point, and then probably down this hill in some form or another. Looked like there were some switchbacks on the topo map, but hopefully we'll be able to follow this width and condition down to the end. Looks like we are coming up on Point Ridge here, and I'm cropping a rocks, so we're gonna come around and start going down the other side. And got a pretty decent view here. There's a lot of bare trees right now, but down below us is the Savage River and a lot of big hills. But it's kind of neat. Kind of a neat little spot here. This will be a cool little picnic spot. You got some, if you're up there, it does open up a little bit. Probably be a good little view even when the leaves fill in. We're heading downward and onward. Okay, and we're within visual distance of Poplar Lick Run, and we're cutting down this power line right away. Somewhat of a road-esque surface here. At least it's somewhat clear of vegetation and fairly packed down. But yeah, we'll hit Poplar Lick Run and get onto the trail of that and do a wrap up from there. And here we are. Here's the Poplar Lick Run trail. If you've watched my video, I think there are 13 trail river stream crossings. So this is the last one, and it's up pretty high, so I'm just gonna have to get wet here. But we'll do a little debrief on the other side here at the little picnic table. Well, I got boots wet on that, got some wet socks, but I do have a little more of a walk to go. But for what we did today was started out right around there on Big Run Road and followed the DNR property up to here, Poplar Lick Run Trail. So here is Savage River Road right behind me. I think when I was in the last clip, I said that from afar that was Poplar Lick Run. I think it was Savage River, just from how big it was. But overall, that trek was about 7 miles, and some of it not too bad. Probably most of it was following old logging roads. It wasn't too bad. But this area in here was pretty brutal going down, and then coming back up was pretty tough. So looking to find some better ways. I saw that there might have been a logging road that I missed when I got on the other side of Silver Bell Run, and maybe following a little stream bed coming down the hill might have been better than just sliding down a real steep grade. But overall, doable. Some of it would be tough with a backpack on, but if you're just doing this loop, it's going to be short and you're probably not going to have too much. So until my next adventure, hope to see you out and about on the trails. Well, I'm going to do a little bonus at the end of this, since I just vehicled this myself. So I'm parked up at where I started on Big Run Road. And just in case you don't want to do the backcountry backpack, you can walk along Savage River Road. That's what I'm going to do. So I will give you that experience, do a couple shots of the experience along Savage River Road. I got Spencer leashed up, and we'll just walk along the road and get back to my car. So this is Poplar Lick Run and Savage River. So now I'm not really sure what I was seeing from up on the power line right away, but one of them. But we'll be on the road. The road pretty much sticks right next to the river the whole time. And it's fairly lightly traveled road most of the time. So this should be a fairly pleasant walk. You know, it's still a road, but you're walking along a very scenic river. About a mile and a half into the little walk here along the road, and traffic's been very light. Cars, and there's some nice little campsites here as well along the road. And start to kind of get into some area coming up here where there's private property along the road, people's houses and stuff, but definitely won't be a problem. So walk along the road. And yeah, it's been a pleasant stroll so far. Definitely wish I had gotten a shuttle, because having just done 7 rough miles, even just a couple miles on the road is still a little tiring, but that's okay. I believe this is Bear Pen Run, where pretty far upstream there I had stopped and crossed and had a little lunch there. Coming into Savage River down there. So 2 sides of the same stream there. And now we've reached Big Run State Park. So through the trees there is the Savage River Reservoir. And you've got camping and bathrooms here. It's not a staffed state park. It's somewhat unusual, and it doesn't really have like a feature per se, in that Deep Creek Lake State Park has a lake, Swallow Falls. Some of the other state parks have something that's kind of a feature, but Big Run's a little interesting. It's got a lot of camping and access to the Savage River Reservoir. So that's the big draw here at Big Run. And we're gonna head up to where we started, a little bit up this way, up Big Run Road, and finish up. Here's the Monroe Run Trail southern terminus. So if you'd started at the northern end, you would come here. If you want to do my crazy bushwhack, you'd go up this way and get up to Camp Savage River State Forest campsite, I think 127. If you just wanted to walk the road to get to Poplar Lick Run, you would make a right, go down to Savage River Road. But this is where it comes out, and what we're crossing right here would be Monroe Run, and it flows into Big Run, which then flows into the Savage River. There's your geography, one of many geography lessons of the day. Okay, and we're back. The trail, or the road version of the trip, was about 6 miles, so just a mile less than the bushwhack, the backcountry bushwhack, but probably a lot easier. They're all flat the whole way. The bushwhack was a hell of a lot of work, but fun and interesting. But I put in about 13 miles today, so I'm pretty beat. So I'm gonna call it a day, and see you out in the trails next time you're out and about. And so is Spencer, by the way. He usually is always ready to go, but he's pretty beat too. Okay, and here is the route that I took on light blue. You can see the route coming along through here. We crossed Bear Pen Run there. This is where we went down the real steep hill
following Silverbell Run, and then coming up another steep hill, coming up on top of Point Ridge, and then coming down to Poplar Lick Run Trail. And here in red are what I will try potentially next time. To avoid the really steep downhill, what I'm going to try and do is take this, looks just as steep hill, and this is all private property in here. So I'm going to skirt the edge of that. This is state land. Try and follow that down. It looks like it's going to be less steep to go down that way and follow this stream bed. I'm not sure if it's just a south branch of Bear Pen Run or what this particular little tributary is, but it doesn't look as big. And I'm going to try and follow that instead of going down this real steep hill. And then I'm going to follow the Silverbell Run out a little bit, but there is this power line right away that goes all the way down there. I'm going to try and catch that sooner and hike up that. It's still going to be steep, but going through here was a lot of mountain laurel and brambles I had to kind of plow through. So coming up that power line right away is going to be a lot less intense. That will be for next time, hopefully with a backpack on. I'm going to try doing this as a backpacking trip and fully complete the whole loop. So stay tuned.